All right, Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg joins us tonight. And, sir, it's good to have you back on. Ground troops, the big topic today, what everybody's talking about. The Wall Street Journal reporting that the Pentagon is weighing sending 10,000 more troops in addition to the thousands that are already staged in the region of Iran. Want to start with Rubio today saying that they're not necessary to achieve the goals that they have set out. But that doesn't mean they're not going to use them. What do you think we need to do here?
Yeah, Rob, it's good to be with you tonight. Thanks for having me. Look, you know, in the articulated goals of the administration, it was not one of them on regime change, but it's reached a point now they've done the first two things they wanted to do, which one, reduce their nuclear capability, and the second was basically eliminate the missile threat from Iran, which was the largest in the Middle East. But the only way you're going to get change, actually, and Marco Rubio said that the other day in a cabinet meeting, this is an enemy we've been fighting for over 40 years, and you really need a regime change. You can do that economically. You can do it with limited use of ground forces, not to go into Tehran or to go into Iran. You know, Iran is a huge country. When you look at the size of it, it's the same size as Spain and the UK and Germany, all combined, and they're not going to do that. But you can take out a couple of key strategic targets. One is Kharg Island, which controls 90% of their oil. Seize that, hold that, so it hurts their economic lifeline. And then the Strait of Hormuz, which you can open it up with ground troops by taking Bandar Abbas or the islands around that. So it's a limited incursion by ground troops. And I think that would be a way to do it. And hopefully that will lead to regime change one in the future. They haven't talked about that.
Right.
The president's been very good about what he's wanted to do. He's accomplished his missions. This just kind of sets the stage for eliminating a threat we've dealt with for the last 40-plus years.
And I understand that. Yeah, if we control the Strait of Hormuz with troops as you just described, that doesn't still stop the potential of them firing an errant drone and hitting a ship, right? The president talked about that yesterday. Even if we go 99% on Iran, that's still that 1%, that drone could hit a boat and take out, you know, a $500 million, you know, oil boat.
Well, you know, that's an assumption you have to make. When you do something like this, there are risks involved. And when you involve in a war, there are risks involved. And when you employ the military, there are risks involved. You just have to accept it. War is not antiseptic.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me, basically, I'll give you a historical example. When the Romans and the Carthaginians fought before the time of Christ, they fought 3 Punic wars. Finally, the Russians got fed up. I'm not the Russians, excuse me. The Romans got fed up. And they went to Carthage, and they burned it to the ground. And that was the last time they fought with Carthage. And Carthage was eliminated as a Mediterranean power. You reach a point where enough is enough. You have to use your military. There are risks involved. Probably people are going to get hurt. But that's the reason you have militaries willing to fight. And we've eliminated their air forces. We've eliminated some of the drones, most of the missile threat. It's just one of those events you're going to have to take under your belt and do it. And the president's been a wartime president, and I think he'll do that. And American people need to understand this is not antiseptic. There's going to be casualties.
Yeah, finishing it appropriately. I mean, if you can't leave, and as someone said last night, you can't knock the hornet's nest over and then walk away because it's going to be terrible politically. It's only going to inspire more chaos from Iran. If they can build this thing back from the ashes, that'll be a terrible future with that country. The Times of Israel reporting from officials in the mediating countries saying that Iran is not likely to capitulate regardless of whether a ground invasion moves ahead. That this is, and I said the same thing. These are not the kinds of people, as we all know, jihadists are not the kinds of people that surrender. People that run this country. I wondered if at some point, could you see, once Iran is effectively decimated enough, could we see something like Israel and the other Arab states like the Saudis coming together to secure Iran? We can mostly pull out and let the region secure a country that they all know is a threat?
Well, I don't think they'd secure the country because it's so darn large to do it. But you can eliminate their economic viability to do that, like I said earlier. So the answer is yes. But you don't need to occupy terrain necessarily to control it. But the reason I say using the troops like this is, you know, there was a great book written in the Korean War after it, and they talked about using ground troops. You know, one of these days you have to put troops on the ground like the Romans did. You put your men in the mud on the ground to do it. Secure the choke points, secure the Strait of Hormuz, secure the economic viability of Kharg Island, and then you go from there. And then you hope for a change of government. Look, they're theocratic. They're all hardliners right now. We keep eliminating them. But hopefully the people are going to rise up and say enough is enough. Remember, the Revolutionary Guards are different than the Army. The Army hasn't really been heard of yet. They're the same size. And you get the Army involved with Iran as well to secure the country. And then in the future, you hope it's going to be a normal country, for lack of a better word.
That's interesting. We have to see what happens. But Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, thank you for the expertise. We appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Rob.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.